What if I told you the Parthenon isn't as perfect as it looks? From a distance, it seems flawless. Straight lines, towering columns, perfect symmetry. But up close, almost nothing is truly straight or level. Every column, every step, every horizontal line was subtly altered to trick your eyes. The architects weren't building for math, they were building for perception, creating one of the most brilliant optical illusions in history. The Parthenon is enormous, about 70 meters long and 30 meters wide, built entirely of marble blocks and columns. At this scale, our eyes start playing tricks. Long horizontal lines appear to sag. Columns that are perfectly vertical look too thin in the middle. And corners, they seem weaker compared to the center of the building. The architects, Ictinus and Callicrates with Phidias overseeing the sculptural program, knew this. Instead of fighting human perception, they embraced it. They didn't build the Parthenon to be mathematically perfect. They built it to look perfect. And they weren't inventing these tricks from scratch. Temples like the Temple of Phaia and the Temple of Zeus had already experimented with subtle optical refinements. The Parthenon combined all these lessons and perfected them, making it a temple that looks balanced and flawless from every viewpoint. Here's how the Parthenon achieves its visual perfection. Tilted columns. All the columns lean slightly inward, a barely noticeable adjustment. This makes them appear perfectly vertical to the human eye, even across the temple's massive width. Without this tilt, the columns at the edges would look like they're leaning outward, creating a sense of instability. It's a small tweak, but it changes the way the entire building feels, making it appear solid and balanced. Corner contraction. At the corners, the space between columns is slightly smaller than elsewhere. If the corners were evenly spaced like the other columns, the edges would seem too open, weak, and disconnected from the rest of the structure. By tightening the spacing, the architects visually anchored the corners, giving the temple a sense of strength and cohesion. Antithesis. The columns aren't straight. Instead, they swell slightly above 1/3 of the way up from the base, then taper toward the top. Our eyes naturally perceive perfectly straight columns as thinner in the middle, almost pinched. Antithesis corrects this illusion, making the columns appear upright, sturdy, and proportioned, almost alive. Curved base. The stylobate, the floor of the temple, isn't flat. It rises subtly in the center, and every horizontal element above it, from the architrave to the frieze to the cornice, follows the same gentle curve. From a distance, the temple looks flat and level, but in reality, this convexity prevents the building from appearing saggy or uneven, ensuring it looks perfectly balanced from every angle. None of these adjustments are accidental. Every tilt, every curve, every contraction was calculated to correct the way our eyes perceive large structures. So next time you look at the Parthenon, remember, your eyes are being tricked. What looks straight is slightly bent. What looks flat is subtly curved. And what looks simple is one of the most sophisticated visual illusions in architectural history. The Parthenon isn't just a temple. It's a 2,500-year-old masterpiece of perception, designed not just for the gods, but for the human eye. Thanks for watching.